Waves are everywhere. Sound travels as a pressure wave. Light is an electromagnetic wave. Ripples on a lake or water waves. Even in quantum mechanics, particles are described by a probability wave function. When most textbooks introduce the wave equation, they derive it by looking at specific physical system, like the tension of a vibrating string or the pressure of a fluid. But that only explains why that particular system obeys the rule. Today, we are going to take a different approach. We are going to derive the wave equation without looking at physical forces, masses, or energies. We will build it purely from geometry and logic. So fundamentally, what is a wave? A wave is the propagation of a disturbance through space and time. To build a mathematical description, we first need to identify the properties that every ideal wave shares. The first property is almost trivial. A wave is not an object traveling through space. Instead, only the disturbance propagates. The medium itself does not travel with the wave. If you watch a ripple moving across a lake, the water does not move across the lake with it. The second and most important property is that as the disturbance propagates, it keeps exactly the same shape. After 1 second or 10 seconds, the waveform is identical. It has simply shifted to a new position. Everything we are about to derive comes from this single mathematical assumption. A traveling wave preserves its form. Suppose the wave travels along the positive x direction with a constant speed. If the wave moves for a time t, it travels a distance vt. That means the waveform we observe now is simply the original waveform shifted by that distance. Mathematically, we write it like this. Now it is something remarkable. We haven't mentioned anything about physics yet. This equation follows purely from the geometric definition of moving shape. Now, let's see what the mathematics has to say about it. Since our function depends on the coupled term x minus vt, we must use the chain rule. Taking the partial derivative with respect to the position gives us the spatial gradient. Derivation a second time gives us the spatial curvature. Now let's do exactly the same thing with respect to time. Because space and time are locked together by the term negative vt. The chain rule dictates that every time derivative pulls out a vector of negative v. After taking second time derivative, the negative velocity factor is squared. Look closely at these two results. Both expressions contain the exact same core function, the spatial curvature f double prime. The shared mathematical term acts as a bridge between space and time. By substituting the spatial curvature directly into our time equation, we arrive at the one-dimensional wave equation. At this point, we have derived one of the most important equations in science using nothing more than the geometry of a moving shape and the chain rule. But real waves aren't limited to a single line. They spread throughout three-dimensional space. The disturbance can vary independently along x, y, and z. To account for this, we simply include the second spatial derivatives for every direction. Adding these three terms together gives us the mathematical operator called the Laplacian, written as del squared. With this compact notation, we arrive at the general three-dimensional wave equation. We just finished the mathematics, but what does this equation actually mean? Let's read it. On the left side, we have the second derivative with respect to time. In physics, this represents acceleration. More precisely, it tells us how quickly the disturbance at a fixed point in space changes motion over time. The Laplacian measures of different one-points form its immediate surroundings. If one point is much higher or lower than its neighbors, the Laplacian becomes large. If everything around it is nearly identical, the Laplacian becomes small. The wave equation connects these two ideas with extraordinary simplicity. It says that the acceleration of a disturbance is completely determined by its local spatial curvature. Imagine pulling one point on a stretched spring upward. That point suddenly becomes different from its neighbor. This spatial imbalance creates an acceleration. As the point accelerates, it influences nearby points, creating new imbalance farther away. Those new imbalance creates new acceleration, and the process repeats. This continuous interplay between spatial curvature and temporal acceleration is what allows disturbance to propagate as a wave. This elegant interplay where spatial curvature dictates temporal acceleration is the exact mechanism that allows energy and information to travel across the universe. And that's why the wave equation is one of the most universal equations in all of physics.